Out of the Draglands. Out of the Draglands.
Love that intro.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, we're actually doing it. We're here recording the first episode of Out of the Draglands, our podcast, where we're basically just going to go over the episodes of Into the Draglands that's airing, since this is the first time that we're watching it. Same with the audience.
Yeah. So I'll start off by introducing myself. I'm Yayah the artist, 24. Currently a contestant on season 2 of Into the Draglands.
And I'm Roselia Valentine. I am 27 years old. I am also a contestant on season 2 of Into the Draglands.
And so just to kind of get the ball rolling and started, we are also kind of watching this as first-time viewers. So as we were filming the season, we were with the other contestants, but we were not on stage with the contestants, so we did not get to hear the critiques. A lot of the information we received was just from the contestants coming backstage, telling us how the numbers went. And there were even days where we weren't with the entire cast. So we're kind of watching these episodes for the first time with the viewers. So we're just going to kind of give our thoughts and opinions on everything and keep it real.
Yeah, and it's also important to note that we didn't really even know what the numbers were going to look like for the other contestants, even ourselves. We were just told that we had like the 3 camera setup and to just kind of go and do it. So it really is our first time seeing this back, as well as the audience. So filming Into the Draglands was such a unique experience because even the contestants don't know how it's going to play out. We all filmed every single challenge and we don't know the elimination order, so we're finding out everything live with the audience. So it's a really cool setup. And with that being said, this is just going to be a podcast with our reaction to the episodes, since we were a part of the production but we didn't get to see how it played out. So we just said, well, let's make a podcast and give our thoughts on the episodes. Why not?
Absolutely. So we'll just jump right into the episode. So it starts off with this cute little acting sequence between Helen Taryn and Bijou Bentley. They all look fantastic, debating whether or not they're going to do season 2. And I mean, this was a Emmy-deserving performance. It was quite incredible. Speechless.
Yeah. And this first challenge is signature drag. So all of the contestants were told, bring out your best drag number right out of the bat. Show us who you are as a performer, show us what you got. And for this first episode, we actually filmed right after we did all of our promo stuff. So we showed up on set, we got into our promo looks, that went by really quickly. And then we were told, all right, get dressed into your signature drag and get ready to go. So it was a very go, 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 go kind of day.
Yes. And it was a lot of hurry up and wait as well. So there's a lot of pressure that day. But it was fun. It was fun. And then in the episode, we move on to this disclaimer about the autofocus. So yeah, the cameras we had on set were like fresh out of the box. So as we were filming, the cast and crew was learning how to work to the cameras, play to the cameras, use the cameras. And that first episode, we do have a little bit of a season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race filter going on. But I do believe after the first episode, that kind of got dealt with. So the rest of the season should look pretty stellar, but we'll see.
I mean, props to production. This is truly a show that is just done by volunteer hours. There's no real financial backing to it. There's no real production behind it other than what we're putting in ourselves. So with that being said, it is still amazing that we were able to get such a project out there. It's a lot of work, as you can tell. And, accidents are bound to happen, but we don't hold that against anybody. Right. That's just the name of the game.
Exactly. So then we get to see our judges panel. So we've got Bijou Bentley, Helen Heels, Taryn Threw, and Betty Booger for the first episode, I believe.
And Brenda does get a different set of judges just for her challenge. But again, we are all being judged on the same criteria. So there is no favoritism or any skewing of the judging of any kind.
So then we move into our first contestant, Miss Elena Roberts. We get to see the breakdown, which is, I guess, what they're going to be calling our confessionals all season. What I love about this is that the questions they actually asked us in person were not the questions shown on the screen. So our answers sound a little ridiculous.
They got me good.
They just don't sound, I don't know. I'm not going to read too into it, but Elena goes into telling that she admires Eva Destruction and Jinx Monsoon. Those are her drag inspirations. I wrote in my notes that she was not wearing any nails. Just an observation of mine.
So rude.
So then we move into her number. She does this cute
Be Italian from the musical 9, I believe.
Okay, so really fun, cool song choice. The look was fitting. And then we go into this tambourine solo, which was fierce.
Well, I'm going to say this, like, Elena was smart on this song choice because when I think Elena Roberts, you know, this number is one that I have seen live before. And it is one that like comes to mind when I think of an Elena performance. So she played smart. She said, let me go ahead and do this number that I know like the back of my hand. And it was thoroughly entertaining. You know, watching this for the first time, she was the first contestant right out of the gate. And it was a good performance. You know, the tambourine solo was fierce. She was really living in the space and she played with every nuance in the song. You know, there's a lot of breaks and stuff. And I thought she killed it. I thought it was good.
She did do well. My only other qualm with the number was I felt like the song was really long. I kind of went into this and edited all my songs to be shorter than when I did them at the clubs because I knew standing in front of a judges panel without an actual audience in the club was going to feel weird. And I knew, you know, let me just do this for 2 minutes, get it over with. I don't want to take up too much airtime. So I will say, like, watching it, I was like, okay, this is a little, it's long, but it was good. The tambourine solo was really cute. The judges were really impressed by the tambourine solo and, you know, sung her praises as to how like accurate the nuance of was it. And I'll say that she hit like 98% of the tambourine.
Agreed.
And my favorite part is at the end of the tambourine solo, she throws the tambourine, and when it hits the ground, it makes no sound, which I thought was, I don't know.
Well, it was cute. It was a tambourine prop, I think. It wasn't an actual tambourine.
I know, but like for her to be like moving the tambourine throughout the number, giving the illusion that it's making sound, and then the second it hits the floor, it's crickets.
Well, what I also want to say on this performance is the camera cuts and editing were phenomenal.
Absolutely.
They really worked in her favor. This was a number that was well suited for an online competition because it just flowed very well. I know that you said the song was a little bit long. I kind of agreed to that. But again, I'm just going to like sing her praises for that too, because even though it was a longer song, she played in every part of that song. I would have like been tapping out by 3:30. I
absolutely.
I feel like I wouldn't have been able to plan a full
totally
number like that.
And kudos to Elena because it was. I'm assuming that was probably about a 4.5 minute song,
Definitely.
or maybe just felt like that. But you know, a lot of us came into this competition without doing drag for like a year or two, and for her to come in with that much stamina was really exceptional. So yeah, kudos to you, Elena. You killed that.
And that ending too. She had the chair on stage and she used the chair well. And then when she ended the song, flew back on the chair, threw that leg up, and ended in that pose. I was like, okay, winner.
Very nuanced.
Very good. So solid, Elena. Solid performance.
Yes. So now we're moving on to the Queen of Blades, Roselia Valentine. Let's start with you. How did you feel about your number in the moment? How did you feel watching it? And, you know, how do you feel about what the judges said?
Okay, so what I'm going to say before we even get into the actual performance, because when I was watching the episode before I got to the club for the live viewing, I had it playing on my phone. And I was trying to remember the actual day of filming, the order that we went in. I know Elena was first that day that we filmed. And I was trying to remember who went second, because I know it wasn't you, Yayah, or me.
I think it was me.
Oh, maybe it was you then. Okay, either way, it was not me for sure. And so when the judges were starting to introduce me as the next performer, I was like, oh, I don't know why I thought the chronology of how we filmed on set was going to be the way that the numbers were presented. We did talk to Helen about that. She said, no, I wanted to switch up the editing to kind of get a good flow of the types of performances that we were going to have a nice kind of flow in the episode, which I agree with. That's totally fine. And it doesn't, play against anyone by doing that. But it just caught me off guard because I knew I wasn't second the day we filmed. So when I saw that I was next right after Elena, I was like, oh my God, I'm next.
Right.
That being said, we got into the drag breakdown before the number starts, where they asked me a question. Now, this is where some shady editing happened, because the question on the episode says, who is a drag influence? And my response was Rose, and going into a number that Rose did. I'm not saying Rose is not an influence, but that is not the question they asked me when we were filming. They asked me what is like a local number that I've seen that's like left an impression on me or something. And that's why I said Rose's number when she had poppers and not only sniffed them, but then like threw the bottle back on stage. And that's why I answered that. But then in the actual video, it looks like I'm saying that Rose inspired me to do drag.
I think the question that was actually asked was, is there a performance that has inspired your drag? Or I don't know, inspired you in some way? Because my answer also made no sense, but we'll get there later. So yeah, Queen of the Blades, Roselia. First thing I noticed was that gray wig was really crispy.
Styled by Yayah.
Absolutely not. Do not put that on me. That was styled by Yayah about 1.5 years ago, shoved in a box.
But it was styled by Yayah nonetheless.
Okay. So Rosalie has this crispy gray wig on her head and then yanks it off after Chromatica 2. Thank God, because the wig underneath is much cuter. I wrote down in my notes that you talked so much in your confessional. It was a lot. You talked a lot.
Yeah, you know what? I was a nervous wreck. And for those of you who are watching the episode on WERRRK.com's YouTube channel, it is not starting with Chromatica 2. It's actually starting with a Yayah the Artist song. The reason for that is licensing. For some reason, they flagged Chromatica 2 intro, but they did not flag 911 by Lady Gaga. So, some tricky editing. We just put Yayah song as the intro, and then it goes into 911. But the actual edit was Chromatica 2 into 911. I was talking a lot because I was so nervous. Again, this was a day where we did our promos and we had like 5 minutes to get into our first look, and this was the first time I was actually going to do skating and drag at the level that I do it now. I had done skating and drag, but I literally would just go back and forth on the stage. During lockdown, I spent like that whole year really practicing skating like every single day for hours on end. And every time I was skating, I was like, I want to do Into the Draglands eventually when it comes up again, and I want to do a skating number. And so I was really nervous going into it because I had not skated on Badlands' floor that has zero traction, and my wheels are very hard, so there is no grip. And immediately I was sent spiraling into like nervousness because everything I had planned and choreographed was not going to work. So that's why I only do spins and just some traveling.
Yeah. But it was cute. And you fell a couple times. And, during filming, Roselia came backstage and was like, I fell. And I immediately was like, yes, she's in the bottom. I was so excited because I was like, if she kills this, she's going to win the challenge. So the way you had like conveyed to us backstage was that like you did not feel like 100 about the performance.
Yeah, but what I was 100 about was the mix itself, because I had the figure skating intro, a good Lady Gaga mix, and then I had the figure skating outro, and I did have one of the stagehands throw flowers on the stage after the number to really like cement the figure skating theme. So I was really happy with the production overall, even though I did fall a couple times.
Yeah, and I think that's what saved you is you went into that with one of the more intricate, thought out performances of the group. And I think that really worked in your favor. So, props to you, mama.
Mm-hmm. Press bitches will say press.
I did note that I was a little turned off by the green skates and the gray outfit. I wish you had been able to match your skates to the look. I understand that's a lot to ask for because wheels are expensive, but it would have really elevated the look.
Yeah.
IMO. But it was cute. It was cute. Another note that I made during this section, and it's a note that applies to the whole episode, was I absolutely love the AC just blasting in the background during the judges' confessionals. And I love when they like zoom in on a judge, it gets louder. So yeah, it was really nice and cool in Badlands. They had that AC going. So thanks for that.
I know that electric bill is nasty.
Yeah. So then we go into Leslie West. Did you make any notes about Leslie's confessional?
Not a whole lot. I was actually just like ready to see Leslie's performance because I remember backstage I was like, okay, they're doing their devil number. Like that's gonna be one to watch.
Mm-hmm. And I believe we've seen this in the clubs too.
Yeah, it's very signature Leslie for sure.
So love this mix. It's equal parts edgy, campy, silly, funny. I feel like this is one of Leslie's stronger, more iconic looks. I believe Leslie's made merch of this too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely signature Leslie. So,
and I'm going to give props to Leslie, being the only king on this season and just coming out here, not really phased, said, I'm going to go ahead and just give it my all. I do want to note that it looks like Leslie starts the number by like drinking blood from a vial, I think, and then sets it down on the bar. And I don't think that prop gets revisited or comes to fruition. I raised an eyebrow on that. I'm not sure what that was, but it kept me wondering, like, what was that? Is that coming back? No, and it didn't.
I love that Leslie wore nails. I don't know if
that was sick.
If he put the nails on for that number specifically, or if they already had acrylics. But I love that concept of just elevating every aspect of the look. It was one of those things that I just noticed right away, and I was like, that makes this look really cool. You would think the devil would have claws, and it kind of gave that vibe. So I really liked that. The red on the cheek, I wish had been blended out a little more. I think with the camera situation, you have to be a little bit more considerate of how you're painting. So had it just been like blended down the cheek a little better, I think it would have read a lot cooler on camera.
Yeah, and just going back to the performance, I love this mix that Leslie did, doing a Satan number but making it so campy. I don't know if you've seen the movie Little Nicky Yayah, but it was giving me so much that where they're basically just spoofing hell and the devil, and it was so on the nose. It was really good. I mean, the mix had Nelly, It's Getting Hot in Here. I mean, come on. That was so stupid. I loved it.
It was good.
And then also more props to Leslie. This mix was really good, fleshed out, doing a Satan mix. And then they had a stand-up comic spoken word about Satan being gay. And Leslie memorized all of it and delivered all of it. That is not easy to do. And it was on the nose for me. Definitely one of the best lip syncs, IMO.
I do wish there was some more expression in the face. But like I said, we were all on like hour 3 this day, trying to keep it together. So, that's just one thing I always look for in a drag performance is like, are you feeling the music and the mix and the performance in every single part of your body? So I just wish Leslie would have been more expressive and vibrant facially, because the lip sync was there.
And again, nerves were probably at a level 1000 for everyone, but I'll give props again to Leslie because it had been a while since I had seen them perform, and this was a really, really solid performance. I was entertained, and it was signature Leslie. I mean, the challenge was met. Absolutely.
Then we move into Aria Gunna's performance. I remember watching her change into this costume backstage.
It was good.
And she came in with that wig on a block, and I was like, oh, she came to play this game. Aria makes all her own costumes. She does all her own hair. Every time I see her in the club, she's like, yeah, I made this. Yeah, I made this. I love a bitch that just, is self-sufficient.
Oh, jinx.
Yeah. So, I saw the costume backstage. I saw the hair backstage. I was like, okay, this bitch she's going to turn it out. Only problem with that costume is she belted it with this like giant black WWE belt. When there was really no other black accessories happening in the costume. So I would have gone with something yellow, because the pantsuit or jumpsuit or whatever it was like this red sequin with like a yellow shift. And then she wore like a yellow thigh-high boot. So the yellow was definitely like the secondary color here. So I wish she would have, amplified that palette a little better. But the hair was good. The costume was good.
The song choice was really good too. So the song choice, for those who don't know, it is Dinerita by Yari Mejia from La Más Draga. And here's the thing. I've seen Aria perform a handful of times. I've done shows with her, like in Stockton at Paradise, and sometimes I'm backstage, so I don't always get to see the number. But when I have seen Aria perform songs in Spanish, specifically from La Más Draga, I feel like there's this confidence that just ignites in her. Like, she knows these songs like the back of her hand, and they're great songs. I love them. And when she does these songs, she just goes into like overdrive. And this was definitely one of the best numbers I've seen Aria do. Mm-hmm. The nerves, if she was nervous, it did not show, and she killed this performance. It's not a mix of any kind. It's just a straightforward lip sync dance performance. And that's ballsy, going into like this challenge without really any gimmick or editing of any kind. Just like, I'm going to go out there and do my thing. And she did the damn thing.
Yeah. No, I think it was a good signature drag for her, because going into it, I don't know if I would have been able to guess what her signature drag number would have been, because she's versatile. She changes it up a lot. And I don't know if I would say I think Aria is a comedy queen. So this was good. She really showed off her sewing skills and her hair styling skills, and she did a song that was very much her. So I felt like because of that performance, I definitely was finally able to get a better idea of like who she is as a performer. So that was great.
Yeah, and that split that she does in this song was clean. That was one of the cleanest splits I've seen, especially coming from Aria. I've seen Aria perform live, and I'm not dogging on anybody because I can't dance.
She's
I
about
can't
to
do
read.
splits. No, I'm not reading. I'm just saying I've seen some of her splits and tricks live before. Sometimes they're not always 100. Things happen. But this split was clean. Mm-hmm. And if you're ever gonna land a clean split, bitch, it was today. So,
yep,
good for you.
That's the time to do it.
Love the McDonald's colors, by the way. Made me hungry.
It was good. So then we go into Claire Doe.
So good.
I thought this was, if not the best, one of the best numbers of the day. Claire definitely has like a specific performing style. She is clumsy and sorry girl. She's she's not like the most elegant and poised performer. But she always plays into that really well. She knows her body. She knows what she can do, and she knows what songs are going to work for her. And this was absolutely incredible. She's bubbly. She moves like a 5-year-old child, and the song sounded like a song sang by a 5-year-old child, and it just felt like Claire. It looked like Claire. It felt like Claire. The look was signature, and it was so nuanced. And like every single little pop in the music and little lyric and sound effect, she was hitting them, and I was just really proud to see it.
Yeah, it was good. And I also took down notes that this hair and dress is very much signature Claire, just very I don't even know what style this is, but it just is Claire's style for sure. And the song starts with like a little like lip trill, and she like does a like she like lip syncs that, and I thought that was a great way to just like come out and say this is gonna be a campy performance.
Yeah, very Claire, very goofy. I don't even know. I guess the look gives me like 1950s, 1960s like witch.
Read her. Drag
Like,
her.
no, that's a good thing. I remember when I was like a little kid, my grandpa had bought me this like British book of like children's horror stories.
Oi, mister, you me dad.
And there was one story about this little witch. Her name was Titchy Witch. And she was like this little short child witch. And Claire Doe reminds me of Titchy Witch. So if you don't know who Titchy Witch is,
Nobody knows who that is.
I feel like people would know who that is. I don't know.
Right.
But that's what it gave me. It was very cute. It was very Claire.
I also noted that Claire was very smart. The song has a lot of instrumental breaks, and instead of just having those instrumental breaks play and kind of be awkward on stage, she actually put spoken word dialogue over those instrumental breaks too, so she could still have something to lip sync to. So that is how you play the game. You know, if you're not a dancer and you can't dance in instrumental breaks, make it your own, and that's what she did. So that shows that she's playing the game smartly, and that was the right thing to do because it worked out very well. This was definitely top four performances for me of the night.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really have nothing negative to say about this performance.
Well, going into the judges' critique on it, they were saying that she was moving around too much. Bijou said, I did the tea shuffle on my season, and I feel like you're kind of doing that this season. And, you know, maybe it was different live, but watching it recorded, I didn't necessarily think the movements were that awkward. But again, maybe it was a little different live. I thought for the filming of it, it worked. I enjoyed the performance. And now we go on to the artistes themselves. Yayah.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is me. I didn't even write down notes for myself.
I did.
So I felt great about my number
Looks
after
so
I
good.
filmed it. That gown is one of my faves. I've only ever worn it once, like 3 years ago. So I brought it out for this. Hair was styled by Loma Prieta in San Francisco. I just felt like a fucking diva.
Yeah.
I've done this number 9 million times.
We know.
But this time I elevated it. You know, I've never done it in a gown, and I thought I won the challenge at the time. Wasn't the case, but
Maybe you would have if you wore thumbnails.
Ooh,
Think
okay.
about that next time.
That part. Yeah, I kept my confessionals really short too. Just because I had no interest in just word vomiting.
At me, bitch. The notes I took for this, I mean, come on. The mug was gorgeous. The hair, gorgeous. The gown, I mean, Yayah, if it was judged on looks alone, Yayah would have taken this far and away.
Agreed.
For sure. Coming down to the performance itself, you know, again, I'm teasing. We have seen this number before, but it is a signature Yayah number. The vibrato, I said, was fucking stupid. I loved it. I mean, if you want to talk nuances, Yayah is one of the nuance performers out there. And this number highlights that. There was a part where you played an A flat on the flute. It was definitely an F, but I mean, you know, I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
It was the wrong note. If you're going to be lip syncing a flute, please play the right notes. It broke the illusion for me. I don't know about you watching at home, but for me, definitely broke the illusion. And I also said, you know, props to doing this in an empty room because this is a number that plays off the audience's energy. You really need to hear that laughter after the flute.
Actually, no, I disagree.
Oh.
I love this number because it's one where a lot of my numbers, I am spending most of the time just taking money from people. And this is a number that's very on display. You know, I feel like I can do this number standing in one spot for 4 minutes, not collect a tip the entire time, and it does not shift my energy. So I felt like going into this, I'm like, this is a perfect number for this because I don't need fill the space with grabbing tips and feeling the audience's laughter. And it was actually nice not having an audience laughing because this number...
she's used to it.
Ciao. Anyway, so... No, you threw me off, bitch.
I'm sorry.
It's good. Yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that. But
well, okay, anyway, this performance was solid. I don't think they really got on you about anything except Betty pointing out your thumbnails, which I'm just teasing. It's a silly critique. I mean, it is a little weird to like put on...
Oh, shut the fuck up.
To put on 8 nails.
It's not
and then,
that weird.
To put on 8 nails and then say, fuck the thumbs.
It's not that weird.
To me, it's weird.
You're weird.
But I don't
Did you wear nails?
Yes.
Did Betty Booger wear nails?
I think so, yeah.
We'll have to play it back.
We'll have to play it back. Audience, please tell us if Betty was wearing nails. Anyway,
I definitely know Taryn and Helen weren't wearing nails.
that's beside the point because even if you're not wearing thumbnails, I don't think that's like a critique worthy enough to knock you points. I don't know if they did, but that's just a little silly.
I know.
I also did note that as gorgeous as this gown is, it was not really your friend. I feel like I feel like you were having a little bit of a hard time traveling with it. I feel like it could have required more kick to like get the dress moving for you, and there was a lot of let me pick it up at the knee and walk. I don't know. A professional
Have you ever worn a gown like that?
I've worn many gowns, yes. And you know what I do? I use the shins to kick and I walk.
That's something. It's not a gown you can do that in.
If you have the leg string.
That gown is about 20 pounds, made from thick sequin fabric, non-stretch, and that train is
It's massive.
It's like 3 or 4 feet out.
Okay.
So it's not a kick and walk kind of gown. This is like, I'm going to stand here, do this number, and you're going to like it.
Well, then if that's the case, I wish you would have been standing more than traveling as much as you did.
That's
because for me, picking up a gown to walk shatters an illusion for me. I don't think that's chic. I get it. You have to do that because that's the only way you can walk. I have some gowns that are not walking friendly, but you have to kind of make it work. But picking up at the knee, just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And I wouldn't have even probably moved during that number, but I knew that one of the critiques was like, utilize the stage.
Yeah.
And after standing in one spot for 3 minutes, I was like, maybe I should like walk a foot or two. And so I did, and you know, and now you say that, and it hurts my feelings. So
I'm sorry.
okay.
Well, for next time, you know, when you do All Stars, because you're not winning this one.
Oh.
All right, and now we are moving on to the new queen on the scene, Shady B.
I loved her nod to Tilly and Mercury in her breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Shady B loves her local queens.
She sure do. Right before we even get to the performance, I do want to say Shady B is a fucking warrior for being so new into drag and then saying, I'm going to do Into the Draglands. Granted, if I were back when I was a new queen, I would not have done this because I did not have any drag and I had zero performance skill. And Shady B is a bitch who makes her costumes, does her hair, does her makeup. And she was like, you know what? Throw me in this competition. I can hang with them. And so just for that alone, kudos to you, because that not every new queen could do that.
Absolutely. No, she definitely came in at a level that most new performers wouldn't be able to. So, you know.
And it's scary. It's very competing, period. Like even like in a live club show is very, very uneasy, unnerving. And then to do a competition like this that was over the span of a few days and like full filming days, that's a lot of work. So congrats that this is like your first taste into doing drag because that's a lot of work.
So then the kindness punk herself goes into Free Woman by Lady Gaga, which we all knew she was going to do because as we were backstage, she had it on replay on her phone as she was getting ready.
Loud.
And we heard Free Woman backstage probably 50 times before she went out and did the number.
She got in our heads. That was smart.
Yeah.
Play the game, girl. Play the game.
She knew the words.
We all did.
Yep. I love the fisting motion without a steady hand. And she did it in every single pre-chorus.
Consistent.
Yes, we love a consistent queen.
I love the dress too. If I'm not mistaken, Shady B did make this. So making a dress and wearing it on your first drag number, hello. Very impressive.
I will say, I feel Shady B needs to edit the looks a little bit. I think she's one of those queens that is more, which, I mean, we're doing drag, so more is always more. But if you are going to like pile more onto the look and have adornments in the hair and things on the dress and all of these things, they should all kind of flow together. Because the look was definitely a solid look. You know, to come out in a gown the first episode is always a smart move. But then we have this like chunky nude heel thing. The shoes were no. Yeah, and she still wears them to this day.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna sound like a bitch, and so be it. But when it comes to drag, I'm one of the queens. Like, again, I am not a dancer, but what I do is try to look my best, and part of that is to have a really nice shoe with your look. So when I see bad shoes and drag, or not,
it takes you out.
It takes, for me specifically, it does take me out, because I'm like, had you worn this kind of a shoe, you would have looked perfect.
A red pump.
You would have looked phenomenal.
Well, and here's the thing. Shady B has a lot of wigs and a lot of costumes. Bitch,
follow this bitch on Instagram and you will see.
Yeah, put some of that money into shoes. Get some new shoes.
Just get a few pairs of pumps and like get a black pair, a white pair, a red pair, even a new pair, and your wardrobe will change.
You'll be set
so much.
Literally, I have like 5 pairs of shoes. You know, like you said, red, white, black, silver, nude, and then like a nice black thigh-high pleaser boot. And that's it. That's all you need.
If you pair the right shoe with a look, it's truly the cherry on top.
Absolutely.
Same note that I was saying about Yayah, about the gown not necessarily being your friend. The judges do get into the critique that this gown is gorgeous. It does have a big train. However, it was tripping up Shady B a little bit with her movements. When you have a train like this where it's like shorter in the front, longer in the back, going backwards is not really something you can do. And it shows. You're more limited to going forward or even side to side. It's one of those things, you know, give your look a practice run before you hit the stage.
Right. And I believe Betty Booger was the one who made that comment. And I would listen to Betty Booger. That bitch is old school. She knows how to work a gown. And she's done the pageant thing forever. So if anyone knows how to maneuver a gown, it's definitely Betty Booger.
Beatrice. I also want to say I love the little Kokoman trees point to the lip sing. It's those little things that just, tickle me. So that was funny. And then the ending of the number, she took that ring off. Yeah. She said, I ain't tied to no one. Yeah. I'm a free woman.
Yeah. She's method.
Love that. Good job, Shady.
Yes. And then we go into Rose.
Those lashes. In the drag breakdown, you can't see her face at all, but you see those lashes.
This bitch is in charge. She walks out on a stage, and whether there's 2 people in the room or 400 people in the room, it's like she just all heads turn.
That is a performer.
She's absolutely incredible. This wig was like a 6 out of 10 for me. I wish she had maybe worn something shorter, like a little chop, like a bus driver wig, or like something styled and coiffed and big, because having this like long hair, I felt like it was kind of in her way. I don't know. IDK.
So for this episode, the first time we watched it, we were watching it live in the club with the cast of ITD season 2. And I remember when we got to this number, this bitch had me sweating. I was like, this number is so good. I've had the pleasure of working with Rose live and seeing her numbers live, and she turns it out every single time. This number was no exception. Turned it out, knows every beat, every word. And, it is no secret that she's a big girl, and she will let you know that is not going to hold her back. Absolutely. She's going to give you a fucking show. And I love Rose so much. One of the best things I took out of ITD season 2 was getting closer to Rose, because that is my girl now.
Yeah.
And Rose, because you're my girl now, I'm going to say this. Take those Payless shoes and burn them, girl. I know you got a big foot.
For real.
I know you got a big foot. If you got to wear a kitten heel, I'm not going to hold that against you, girl. I know that you got to do what you got to do.
Make it cute, though.
Get you a cute pump. Yeah. Get you a cute kitten heel pump. I don't know. Just Oh,
So that I guess that's going to be a trend for season 2 is awful shoes.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna be the bitch about the shoes.
What? Back to Elena. What shoes was she wearing? I'm sure they were bad.
I don't know. Maybe a platform. I don't think I've seen Elena really in a pump. I'm almost certain it was a platform.
I don't know if Elena knows what a pump is.
No, we had that talk backstage. She tried to tell us that a platform heel was a pump. And we had to check her real quick. We said, no. That is a platform. A pump gives you that Barbie shoe silhouette. Just straight angled on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
No support on the ball of your foot. Do they hurt? Yes. Do you look good? Yes. Please, get you some pumps.
Pumps. Yep. Another note I have for Rose was a similar note I gave to Leslie, was I need more expression in the face. The movements there, Rose knows the music, she knows the words, but show it to us in your eyes and your facial expressions. And I think that got a little lost in this performance. And it's interesting. I think Rose in a club versus Rose on camera is a different vibe. Her energy in person is electric, and she's just got like this essence and this air about her that is so appealing. But that translated onto a camera. I did feel there was like an overall vibe of the number, just like something wasn't landing. It felt a little disconnected, and it might have been the facial expressions for me. I don't know.
Maybe. I was just too busy like seeing this bitch work it the fuck out that maybe I didn't realize the facial expressions weren't necessarily there. But again, seeing Rose perform is always a treat.
Absolutely.
And this number, like I said, this was one of the numbers that really had me nervous that she was going to come out on top and win the whole episode.
And that move where she like grabs the like bar rail and then like flips backwards or like bends backwards. Oh, that was so good.
It's a signature move.
So good.
I love, this isn't even like a critique on the performance, but I love when it cuts to the judges right after this number and it just shows Bijou on her phone texting.
I also made a note of that.
That was so funny.
They didn't even try to cut that out. They said Bijou doesn't care.
She was like, girl, she was texting Liz. She's like, girl, I'm going to be here for like 5 more fucking hours.
And I mean, at that point, I think we had already been there for like 5 hours.
Well, again, they're not showing these numbers in chronological order, so I don't know where Rose was in the actual filming, but just some more backstage tea. So this day of filming, we did our promo look, our episode 1, and our episode 2. So we were there very, very, very late. So we're still in our first look, so we weren't even that late into the day, as long as it was.
So then moving into our secret 9th contestant.
None other than Brenda.
It's Ova for you bitches. I love the fake laugh in the promo. Brenda was explaining to us that they shot this promo at like 3 a.m.
Poor girl.
She had just like flown in from San Diego. And, you know, she was zonked and tired and could not get a fake laugh out of her. So they edited in this like stock laugh, which to me has been the highlight of the season so far. Brenda has a different set of judges for this challenge.
Same critiques or same rubric for judging.
I know Faye was on the panel. Who else?
Faye and Pocket. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So we have Faye and Pocket. Faye looked hot. Faye looked absolutely hot. The choker, the hair, it was all good. I did notice Faye was blinking a lot. And maybe it's because the lashes were really large, but every time Faye blinked, I took a shot and I died.
And because Brenda did fly in from San Diego, like in the middle of when production had already started, Brenda had a lot less time to get everything ready. She actually had a sewing machine in the dressing room with her so she could finish up costumes, like altering, creating right before she had to hit the stage. So she was under a lot of stress. And, you know, that's ballsy to like come into the competition without every single costume ready with as much time as the rest of the cast had. So that was really impressive that she took on this project coming in from San Diego. We're in Sacramento, coming in with not all of your costumes ready and then making them right before you had to get on stage. That would terrify me.
Yeah. And so she does Got My Number by Kim Petras, comes out with a phone.
The mug was good.
The mug was good. The mug is always good on Brenda.
It read so well on camera.
The body was there right in front of the camera.
The top of season 2.
Yeah, we got a lot of crotch on that one. And I'm not complaining.
I love the pleasers. You know, this bitch makes this bitch.
Wait, so was it? I can't remember. Were those the baby pink pleasers? This girl, she will wear those shoes no matter what, and those shoes have betrayed her.
They are not her friend.
Yeah, absolutely not.
But they were her friend for this episode, for sure.
Totally.
This bitch looks really good in pink. She had different shades of pinks on, and you know, they just really, really bring out the best of Brenda's looks, I feel. I'm a pink bitch myself, so I love pink on a girl, and she wore pink very well.
Yeah. The only problem I had with this look is I don't have a picture in front of me, but from my remembrance, it had like a train hanging off these shorts, and the train did not hit the floor. And I mean, it's not like she's doing a pageant number, but I don't know, little trains hanging off of garments. I'm like, either do it or don't do it. If you're gonna do a train, that shit better like flow, hit the floor. It has to be a moment, and this was kind of just there. So I didn't love that, but she looked great. Pink is her color, blonde is her color. The pleasers look stunning. She knew the words, because I know this bitch is obsessed with Kim Petras, and I'm pretty sure she's just gonna do Kim Petras's entire discography this season,
if she makes it that far.
Ooh.
Now, the autofocus wasn't working for the whole episode. It was definitely working for those close-up shots of the crotch. Brenda, I'm glad you did your Kegels, however you pronounce it.
Kegels, yeah.
Yeah, that shit looked tight. It looked good.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Yeah, good for you, girl.
That was some great exposure for all of Brenda Ova, for sure. Oh, now we get into the scorecards.
Okay, so you wrote down the scores, so give it to us.
Okay, so before we get into the scores, I do want to preface with saying, watching this episode, it was amazing. All of these performances were very, very neck and neck. I am not jealous of the judges, because having to, pick out the order would have been very difficult. So I don't want to like discredit anyone's performance. It was very good, and these scores are proof because there are a lot of ties, because it was very, very close. That being said, the scorecard is revealed in a countdown fashion, starting with number 1, the winner, none other than Roselia Valentine with 89 points.
I was gagged.
I didn't even know how to react, because I saw they don't say the name, they just show the person's photo. So when I saw my photo as first place, I was like, took a minute. I
was gagged because I had in my head before this aired, like, assumed what everyone was going to score, and to me, you were not in the top just because of what you had told me. I didn't see the number, but just based on how you felt about the number, I was like, nah, she's not in the top. So for you to win, I was like, okay, fuck yeah, because after watching the number, you put the most work in out of this entire cast.
Thank you.
So first place, very well deserved. Then we go into second place,
and it is none other than Aria Gunna with 86 points.
And I'm happy for her. This was a great, proud moment for her, and I definitely don't want to take that away. But
I'm gonna, she said.
Aria Gunna, yes. I'm gonna take it away. No, so like I said, she looked stunning. This was the best Aria Gunna's ever looked. The song choice was right. But given that some of the performers had come in with mixes and props and concepts, and she just kind of came in and did a song, and it was really straightforward. It was tight and it was good, but out of everyone's signature drag numbers, I don't know if I would have put this in the number 2 spot.
So coming from an outside perspective, I do have my cousin, who's a very big drag enthusiast, loves the drag competition shows. I got him to watch the first episode also, and he very much agreed that Aria deserved second place. He actually, and here's the thing, he actually put Yayah as number 1, and Aria in second place. So while the first place while first place was wrong for him, second place was Aria Gunna. And again, he is very familiar with La Mastraga.
Do you think Aria deserves second place?
I'm conflicted because I agree with what you're saying about, it is just a song, straightforward dance performance, and it's not as intricate as a mix or props or gimmicks or anything like that. But if anything, that makes me appreciate it even more because she said, I don't need all that to show you my signature drag. This is my signature drag.
T.
And this is what I do. I don't need to do what they do. This is what I do. I do my hair, my costume, I do my Spanish songs, and I perform to them very well. So it grew on me. I did not expect Aria to be second place, but I'm not upset by it because she did very well.
I share the same sentiment. I'm happy for her.
Yes.
I'm proud of her. And I know she's proud of herself. And I think this was like a really good boost for her morale.
It was.
So I'm happy for her. Had I come up with the scorecard, I probably would have come up with something a little different, but I'm not a judge.
We have 2 Latinas in first and second place. We love to see it.
Excellent.
And third place with 83 points is the artiste, Yayah.
Yes. After watching the episodes, I feel like third place was well deserved for me.
Definitely.
I looked stunning. My lip sync was on point. But as far as what the other contestants brought, I think, third place works for me. I had tied with Elena Roberts, but the judges panel had decided that, even though we were tied,
someone has to
be third and someone has to be fourth,
yeah.
and they picked me, which is the right choice because look at me, I'm stunning, and I wore nails.
I will say, Yayah's performance was very good. Anything less than third place would have shocked me. So I think third place is very appropriate for this performance. It could have been higher, IMO for sure, but third place is well deserved.
Yes, and let's talk about the prizes too. So first gets every episode, first place winner gets $50, second place gets 30, and third place gets 20. So I won $20 and I'm okay with that.
And I won 50, which was very nice. I had to get groceries and gas that week, so it paid out.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
And then so we already kind of talked about Elena. So who's fifth?
No, well, I mean, Elena at 83 points. Do we agree with that in fourth place?
Yes.
That was a good performance,
Yep.
and I thought it was going to be higher. So good job.
I did think if I had scored top 3, I would have done you first, me second, Elena third.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Moving into fifth place, we have Brenda Ova at 74 points. Important to note, Brenda and Claire both got 74 points. Same thing that happened with Yayah and Elena. The judges had to pick someone to be fifth, someone to be sixth. So that being said, Brenda got fifth place with 74 points. Claire got sixth place with 74 points.
And I disagree with this decision. I love Brenda, but I do feel like I got more out of Claire's performance. So just swapping those two would have been my move.
Yeah, and again, I definitely pegged Claire's number as top 4. So
Absolutely.
So regardless of who the top 3 was, I really thought Claire was going to cement that fourth place. Then we move on to seventh place. And again, same thing. Everyone was tying. There was a lot of ties. So we have Rose and Leslie tied with 72 points. Rose getting 7th place, Leslie getting 8th place.
This is hard because
it was so
I was shocked at both of their placements.
I was too.
And so to like put them against each other and pick Rose as the one that came out on top, I guess I see that.
This is so
it's hard because I probably would have scored Rose higher, but maybe I wouldn't have because I get what the judges said.
Yeah.
So okay, it's right.
And here's the thing. By no means does this like mean that your drag is so bad that you're like 7th place or 8th place. The numbers were so good. All of these numbers were very, very good. But unfortunately, it is a competition and you have to get ranked.
And one of the conversations I had with Helen is, because she told me, if and when you get eliminated and you go on your podcast, I don't want you to talk shit about the show. And I went into this and I'm like, if I'm first out or I go all the way to the top, I don't care. I know what I signed up for.
And the good thing too is that this was filmed at the very end of May, early June of this year of 2021. So it was a few months ago. It's been a while now. There have been many other things to kind of keep us occupied with live shows, other projects. So
We all had a lot of dust to brush off.
Well, not only that, but I'm saying like watching these episodes now, I feel like the pressure is a little bit taken off because we're not in that competition mode. You know, it's all said and done.
And we're not, I mean, we're definitely invested.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel less emotionally invested
Exactly.
than I did at the time. At the time, had
It
I
was
known I was
hard.
third place, I would have maybe been a little bit
Yeah.
more upset than I am now. But in retrospect, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever.
Now we just get to watch these numbers as entertainment, you know, because there's nothing that we can do to change that.
We're just viewers at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In last place, we have Shady B with 65 points. Again, just because, you know, Shady B, you are newer. The performance was good. You know, nobody was bad, but there were just some technicalities with the gown kind of tripping you up. But yeah, you know, again, it is a competition. Everyone has to get ranked. And Shady B did come in last here.
It's those shoes.
Stop.
I would have put that bitch in last place for those shoes too.
Jesus Christ.
Otherwise, the performance was great. But
And this episode is a non-elimination, so you will be seeing all the competitors back for the next episode. So it was a nice little intro to seeing the signature drag, which I think is really smart on production's part to show this as the first episode, so that way you can really get an idea
to know
of
everybody.
Yeah, to know what they're capable of and see how they mold themselves for the challenges to come. Because let me tell you, these challenges are these challenges are difficult for everyone, regardless of what you do.
It's true.
All right. Well, that being said, we do not have a beyond the Draglands yet.
So next week we'll probably dive into that a little bit more because Beyond the Draglands is going to be some crazy shit.
It goes into the behind the scenes filming of the cast backstage when not doing their numbers. You know, this is a pressure cooker type of environment. We're all in competition mode. We all have so much drag. So keep that in mind when you watch the episodes.
Yeah. But yeah, that concludes episode 1. Whatever you're listening to this on, you know, like it, give us 5 stars, leave a comment, IDK. But we appreciate you tuning in and listening, and, you know, tune into the Draglands every Wednesday, and each podcast should be coming out the following Tuesday for each episode. So stay tuned.
And shout out to our sponsor, Dr. Dennis Gross. Shout out to WERRRK for having us on their YouTube channel. And shout out to the entire cast and crew, because there are too many to name, but they all put in so many man hours to make this come alive. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Out of the Draglands. Out of the Draglands.